The superstars of Fan Control Football Season 2.0 are not only the who's who of celebrity team owners and influencers, not the 21 million live views of our Emmy-nominated broadcast. Across Twitch, DAZN, Fubo, NBCLX, Peacock. Or our highlights that scored over 100 million views. And we can't forget best-in-class sponsors. But the biggest star of Season 2 is our play calling app that allow fans to control the action on the field. Fans pick a team, pick a play, 4 run plays, 4 pass plays to choose from. The play with the most votes is called in real time.
We got it.
This is where video games and live action come to life. And now, Fan Control Sports and Entertainment brings you Fan Controlled Hoops, where fans call the shots. Coming 2023, the future of sports is here, and it's fan control. Power to the fans.
Are you ready for it?
Back to work.
Leighton, my God.
It's okay. We're here for you.
At least there's a trophy in the back. Do you see the trophy right here? Do you see that one?
Yeah, is that for like world's best internet customer?
Yeah. World's most. Did you hear me when I first tried to sign on in there? Welcome everybody to Back to Work. I'm Josh McCouga. I'm subdued tones in the attic of a house, trying to find the only place where I can get internet and my baby can take a nap at the same time. It has been. I don't know who is Don Internet. Like Mr. Internet himself, Freddie Internet. Teresa Internet, whoever controls the internet needs to come out to my house and fix it again. I don't know what the hell is going on. Okay. This is some absolute BS, but my wife is livid. She's like, if you wake up the baby, I'm going to kill you. So my normally loud and crazy tones are going to have to be subdued today. Like I'm going to like keep it about this. Okay.
All right. Welcome to Smooth Jazz with Josh McCouga.
Hey yo, here we go. Welcome to Back to Work, everybody. Leighton, how are you doing?
I've just never heard you talk at this tone consistently. So I'm now waiting for like Kenny G to come out of nowhere and just blow one note for 2 minutes.
Yeah, the man holds the record for longest saxophone note, and I personally think that's one of the most impressive world records in the world. 47 minutes, one saxophone note. It's pretty impressive.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. He learned to breathe and he learned to play the saxophone and breathe at the same time. Kenny G.
Yeah, he's better than Superman.
He really is.
No, I'm doing good, man. You know, moved into the new townhouse this weekend.
Yeah, so. Tell everybody a little bit about the move. You're an adult now.
Yeah, I'm a full adult. So like any sports fan, I was living in my mom's house.
Yes.
And I moved out this weekend, moved in with my lovely girlfriend. We're now in downtown Atlanta, and I have this really cool setup. I wish I could see the whole thing, but Muhammad Ali is one of my favorite athletes of all time. Then I have my actual high school football jersey. Then a gift was made for me of an authentic Morehouse football jersey. I did not play college football. Funny story, my head football coach senior year brought me into a private meeting, and the first thing out of his mouth was, so you do know that college football is not a reality for you, right? I was like, yeah. Thanks, coach. Thanks a lot. And keep in mind, I was a 2-year varsity starter, but not really.
No. Yeah. My buddy and I were texting today. We got some really good news about my brother and his battle with cancer. And so my buddy was like, I hope he treats this better than he treated me when we played intramural basketball, because Ben was the coach of the fraternity intramural basketball team, and if you stunk, he wouldn't play you, and he would yell at you if you shot and did anything besides rebound and pass. He's like, my brother was a hard ass coach, and so we got a good laugh out of that, which kind of reminds me of like what this Morehouse coach is saying to you, and it's a tough awakening.
It's hard. It's really hard.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
Well, this is Back to Work. We are here every single Monday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, a huge weekend in sports. So let's get into our first topic, Leighton Batiste.
All right.
Let's see if Jim hits the graphic. Did he do it? Did Jim do it? Jim? Here we go.
It's going to hit in the middle of the show.
The most calm first topic we've ever seen. Okay, listen. I don't I don't particularly like Boston sports. I'll be honest with you.
I hate every team in Boston.
Okay. The Patriots destroyed my Steelers year in and year out. Tom Brady, the years that we did beat them, it felt a little bit like we actually won a playoff game in the regular season. You know what I mean? But the Boston Bruins just pulled off the greatest choke job in the history of sports. It's not even close.
Wait, so that means the Falcons, we can finally like step
Yes.
off that pedal? Oh, thank
Yep.
God. I was waiting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Jim, I am clicking it. No, it's not even close, Leighton. This is when Giannis last week was talking about failure, right? And he got all upset about failure. Okay. This is failure in sports.
Oh, no,
If we wanted to name and call out something, like this is the point where that reporter should go into the Boston locker room, like, would you call this a failure? Yes. It is a fucking failure. It is pathetic.
I think from now on in sports, we don't call things failures. We just call it Bruins.
Bruins. You pulled a Bruin.
Yeah, you ruined it.
You ruined it. Oh, it's so perfect. It's already a point. It's already
you ruined it. You ruined it. You see?
Man.
Such a Bruiner.
Yeah. Oh, we did it.
We did it. We cracked the code.
We cracked the code. You ruined it. You
ruined.
Yeah, cut it. Clip. Okay, Leighton, let's break this down. Okay. The Boston Bruins won the most games all time in the regular season of the history of the NHL. All time. This wasn't like a great season. This wasn't a good season. This was the best regular season in the history of the NHL. Okay.
Right.
Now, they lose to a Florida Panthers team who was like pretty good all season. And the NHL playoffs, as we know, and we've said it before, anything can happen. It's the most dynamic of all the playoffs. There's never like a favorite going into the final, into the NHL playoffs. Anything can happen. But this Boston team was just too good. Nobody thought that this is an insane upset. Okay. There isn't another situation like this in the history of sports.
No, because
okay, let's go to the 2001 Seattle Mariners. Okay.
Right. Okay.
They tied all time 116 games. They still made it to the second round of the playoffs that year. Okay. The 2007 New England Patriots, undefeated, go up against the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Yes, exactly.
They still made the Super Bowl. Okay. Some of the 1 seeds losing to an 8 seed in the NBA playoffs, it's happened 6 times. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not special.
If the Golden State Warriors would have won 73 games in the regular season and lost in the first round to, I don't know, this year, I guess it would have been the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay.
Yeah.
That would have been the greatest upset in the history of sports. Okay.
Yeah.
This has not happened anywhere. The Warriors lost in the finals.
Yeah. All the big upsets have happened in significant, like they made it there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And don't give me the, oh, well, hockey, hockey's just different. Still, this is the greatest regular season team ever.
That sucks, though. You can't call yourselves the greatest hockey team ever. You're the greatest regular season team ever.
Correct.
There's no banner for that. There's no rings for that. If you're a Bruins fan, you have to tuck it in your back pocket.
You ruined it.
That sucks. You ruined it.
Yes. You really did.
Like, you really ruined it.
Holy
I'm gonna use
cow.
that for years to come.
All the time. OVO Go says the President's Cup curse is real. Yeah, the people talk about the President's Cup curse in hockey because usually, the President's Cup winner, the best regular season, rarely wins the cup. The Caps won it a few years ago and they were incredible, lost. The Lightning won the President's Cup, lost. It's just
the way you said lost reminds me of that South Park scene where Cartman is like, in the 2007 Super Bowl, Bill Belichick tells the Patriots, come on, guys, let's win this for real. Let's not cheat. You know what happened? They lost.
See, here's the thing. Freddie Ermo said they've gone out in the first or second round like 8 years in a row now, but they weren't as good as these Bruins. He is correct. They totally Bruined it. So going forward, Boston sports fans, let's take a breather. Okay.
Yeah.
This was a fully ice-covered piece of humble pie straight to your ear holes and mouth holes. Okay.
Yes.
And eyeballs.
And what I hate the most about this is they still have the Celtics to rely on.
I know.
So we can't really harp on them the way that we want to. Like, this is bad.
Yeah.
And I love it.
You know, in the same weekend, and we'll get to this in a bit when Doug Glosser comes on to talk the NFL draft, the Patriots did something for the first time since the Raiders in 2000. They drafted a punter and a kicker. Both of them in one draft.
Oh, things are bad in Boston.
Woo-hoo.
Things are. You ever seen a city collapse other than Rome? Look at Boston sports.
Yeah, and Belichick's just watching it burn.
Yeah,
with kickers and punters. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's immortal at this point, right? So,
Freddie Ermo, thanks for that. Doesn't get the Penguins in the playoffs. I know, Freddie. Thanks. But I'll tell you what, if my Penguins had been the best team in the regular season in the history of the sport and we lost in the first round, I'd be walking in traffic right now. Okay. Next up, Leighton.
Yeah. I wish we could play the Will Smith.
Jim? Jim? Give me.
Back to work.
Back to work. Back to work.
I wish we could open this segment with Will Smith's Miami.
Yes, me too.
All-time banger.
It is.
I mean,
yeah, he burned it. All right. Is Miami now like the best sports town? Is Miami like the sports destination right now?
No, it's just their time. Okay. That's all. It's a moment. It's lightning in a bottle for them, right?
Okay.
No, I mean that's huge though. Your two biggest teams, because we'll get to the Marlins in a minute, and Dolphins haven't been relevant since Ballers on Showtime, but season 1 at that.
Shots fired.
Your two other pro sports teams and knock off the top seed in the same week.
Yeah,
or Spain the same. Yeah, no, it's just huge for Miami.
I mean, do the Florida Panthers start selling out now? Or if you're in Miami, are you choosing a Panthers team or are you choosing the Heat? What game are you going to?
Who do the Panthers play next?
I think they play the winner of this Rangers Devils series.
I almost want to go Panthers.
Okay. No, wait.
I don't know. No, because after yesterday's game, I think the Heat. No, I'm going with the Heat because it's more exciting to beat the Knicks than it is to watch a hockey team from Miami beat the Rangers or the Devils.
I'm sorry. The Panthers are playing the Toronto Maple Leafs. Leighton.
Do you understand how heated that's going to be? Because the Maple Leafs have been waiting for this for years. This is, Toronto's. They're high right now. I couldn't think of any other term but to explain that they're high. They're happy. I mean.
So Florida Panthers, is there going to be a giant come down from this unbelievable Game 7 upset and the Maple Leafs are just going to trounce them? Is that what we're thinking is going to happen? Or do we think that?
No.
Okay. All right.
I think the Panthers ride this into a very competitive series.
Okay.
They might be the Sacramento Kings of the NHL.
Whoa.
Oh, no, that's a backup because they didn't make it out the first round. I need another team to compare them to.
Like Miami Heat, just compared to the Miami Heat.
If I'm a regular in Miami, I still think I'm going to take those Heat Knicks tickets because I think the Heat can beat the Knicks. I got Heat in 6.
Okay.
I think it's going to take 6, but I'm going to go Heat.
Jimmy Butler is New York's kryptonite. He's just,
of course,
yes. They can't stop him. In Jimmy, I trust. I love the dude's story. I love him. Everything about Jimmy Butler, he's not like overly cocky. He delivers when he has to.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say like, hey, I want a super team. I need to go here. I need this. He's sticking with his squad and he wants to bring a championship because he deserves it. I think I also take the Jimmy Butler tickets. I take the the Butler show. Yeah.
And like OVO Go said, I mean, that the ankle injury, I think we all saw that yesterday. We were scared and then he still finishes the game.
Yeah.
They win. And I saw a tweet. They said that, Devin Booker and Jason Tatum, they all want to be Kobe. They're all Kobe wannabes, but it just seems like Jimmy Butler's the only one that's actually cut from that cloth. I think I agree with it. I agree with it. Yeah.
He's, what he has that you can't teach. We kind of talked about it last week. Is he has, you can't teach winning, right?
No,
you can't teach speed. My dad always said you can't teach speed and you can't teach stupid, right? Like you're just fast and you're stupid, like it, or a winning mentality is is something you can't teach, right? Like you can't teach Cleveland how to win. They're gonna have to figure that out on themselves. It's that winning mentality. I think just Jimmy Butler has it, and the Knicks are still they feel bad for themselves every oh, we won a series. All right, that's good enough.
Oh yeah. They're the most underachieving sports franchise and fan base, and I hate them. I could go on for days. I can. But the thing that I think I earned respect for the Heat when I found out there's a conditioning test that you have to pass for the Heat. I forgot what it is, but it's this egregious conditioning test, and it just pulls the grit out of you. And it's why guys want to play for the Heat. And I was like, well, if there's anybody that is Miami Heat through and through for that logic, it has to be Jimmy Butler. Has to.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Marlins real quick, and then we're going to bring in Doug Glosser, NFL savant, draft maniac.
Oh, yeah. So Front Office Sports, they dropped the article. It was with David Sampson. He's the former president of the Marlins. He goes on this rant about how Miami's not a baseball market. Okay. Easily anybody hears that, they would call BS because of the demographic down there, right? But his whole argument was that Miami's a vacation town for your rich corporate people, and so they're not there during the baseball months. They're only there during the winter, but then they leave during the spring and summer, which doesn't make sense, but they leave for their other homes, and that's why they can't get the fan base. Then I went and looked at the record, and I realized the Marlins haven't had a winning season since 2009.
Okay.
So that's probably why they have low attendance. Second, I hate the Marlins. They're in the same division as the Braves.
Man, you said you hated teams for 3 straight segments here, Leighton.
Yes, there's a lot of teams that I hate, okay? But I respect the Florida Marlins more than the Miami Marlins.
Wow.
And I don't think that franchise took into consideration how bad that rebrand was for the fan base. On top of that, just underwhelming stadium that they built. So they
basically hired 7 girls from Coachella to design the stadium. It's horrendous.
Yes. And while they were designing it, they were drinking those little test tube shots that they had to. Yeah, they had to.
Yeah, and which is just Kool-Aid. There's nothing in it. I listen. I will say this: fan base, cities like Miami that brought in a baseball team, and they had a guy like Wayne Huizenga early on that bought everything, got them a World Series, and then basically just ditched the entire team. You have a hard time building that back up. Now, I agree. Derek Jeter's been trying to do his things. A-Rod has talked about it. All these guys that love to go to Miami and talk about Miami. I mean, really and truly, and like you said it, Leighton, we should get Will Smith to really take on that team. They should be shooting every Bad Boys for the next 10 to 30 years. I don't care if they're in wheelchairs shooting Bad Boys. I will watch those movies. They need to weaponize the attitude of Miami with a Miami baseball team. Now, how do you do that? You go to the fan base that loves baseball most. And what is that? The Cuban population in Miami, which is a gigantic population. How are you not going to the Cubans and saying, hey, make this your team? What should we do to make the Miami Marlins your team? The Cuban American people that live in Miami and have since the 80s of that generation, make the Miami Marlins the Cuban team of Miami. What did you want the corporate people? Sure, they spend a lot of the money on the suites, but they're not going to come week in and week out.
Exactly.
The people in Pittsburgh, they marketed to the diehard. There's nothing to do in the summer in Pittsburgh other than go on that river and watch baseball games, right? Yeah. Miami it has multiple distractions and it's really hot. But if you were to sell that team, if you were to market that team correctly, you could really do some damage in that stadium and make that a very enticing place to play, not only for really good baseball players, but more importantly for Cuban baseball players.
Oh, of course. And it'd be the most intimidating atmosphere in Major League Baseball.
Yes.
The most intimidating. Yeah. We saw the World Baseball those of us who watched, we saw the World Baseball Classic it was an amazing, intimidating atmosphere.
Yes. Make it Miami just, I don't know. You could listen to our show. Don't brew in it. Don't
Don't
ruin it.
Stop brewing it.
Stop ruining it. All right, Leighton, you
Mm.
ready for a little draft recap, some draft grading, some
Yes, I missed this guy last week. I'm actually excited to meet him. This is
I know.
cute.
All right, you guys are in the same city. You should start hanging out.
Yeah, I'll get him some coffee.
Ladies and gentlemen, the draft savant himself. He is now a regular here on Back to Work, Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment Network. Direct from Atlanta, attorney at law, Doug Glosser. Let's go.
Hey guys, great to see you. How's everybody?
Good to see you, Doug. Sorry, I'm very calm today. I'm trying not to wake up a baby. That's all.
That's okay. You know what? Let's get a very quiet round of applause for your brother Ben. How about that? How about a very quiet round of applause for your brother Ben?
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Little golf clap. Happy birthday to Bernie. That's a person important to you and I. Happy birthday to the legend.
Yes, thank you.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Doug, we posted a video before the show where you talked about, and we both talked about, the Steelers trading up to get Paris Johnson. Now, that didn't happen. However, we did trade up to draft Broderick Jones. And now you are a little shaky on this pick. Tell us why.
So I came around with it, and it comes back to, and it's something we'll talk a little bit about when we talk about the Falcons, maybe if we talk about Houston a little bit. It's good team building strategy. You can disagree about the player and argue about the player, and do you like him, do you not like him? That's fine. But I think it's good team building in the sense that you need a left tackle for Kenny Pickett. You need to build on the lines. So regardless of whatever I thought about Broderick Jones, getting in front of the Jets and going, okay, that's the last of these first round tackles. And if you love the guy, they didn't pay much to go get him. So I have no problem with what they did. When you and I were talking, when we made the pick, what I was talking about in terms of not loving it is, he is a phenomenal athlete, right? And if you're looking at somebody who can be Trent Williams, which is what we're hoping, right? You got it in Broderick Jones. It's the same athletic profile, it's the same flexion, it's the same basketball background, it's everything. Now, can he play offensive line? Is he good at football? If you think that offensive line is not a skill position, you don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So I don't think that Broderick Jones right now is that much better than Dan Moore as to say, let's call this an absolute home run. Now, can he be? Absolutely.
Okay.
Is he right now? TBD, right?
Okay. And what would you grade the Steelers draft overall?
I'm glad we're only showing me from the neck up right now, because that's an A+. That's an A+. Because again, it comes back to what is it
Leighton
that
just
you
got
need?
that joke, Doug.
Thank you. So it's what is it that the team needed, right? You needed youth along the defensive line. Keanu Benton, we picked him at 49. I might have had that exact same pick in the draft guide. Who knows? It was there.
He did.
So you're looking at that when Mozzie Smith goes 28 to the Cowboys. There's only one guy left in the entire draft that fits that kind of body type for the Steelers. You could say Siaki Ika. I'm not an Ika guy. So for me, it was Keanu Benton, and they got him. The other pick that we made right before that, obviously Joey Porter Jr., that sent the town into a tizzy. We were all freaking out, we're going to get him at 17. Okay, we took the tackle. We're going to have to say goodbye to Joey. He's going to go to the Ravens or something like that, we're all thinking. But no, he's sitting there for you at 32. And briefly, a lot of people thought, should the Steelers have traded off of that? I say no. When you look at what Arizona got from the Titans for Will Levis, you're just switching positions, and then you get an extra third next year. I don't move off of Porter if you love him for that. And then obviously you got Darnell Mount Washington, as I'm sure he will be called around town. You got Nate Herbig. If your dad played in the NFL, we want you. Nate Herbig's brother, I'm doing it already. We got Nick Herbig, whose brother Nate is already on the team. So, I thought it was just outstanding, especially with Omar manipulating the draft the way that he did. But, we weren't the only team that was great. The other team in Philadelphia was phenomenal too. They were the stars of the show.
It sucks.
I know.
Yeah, it's listen, them getting Jalen Carter where they did, off the field issues be damned. They got a steal there. And then, the way they maneuvered in that draft, all the picks that they had, they really did a bang up job to a team that really didn't need much more help.
No,
Really,
and it's incredible because you look at it, the last time that a team that was in the Super Bowl had a top 10 pick, you're talking New England with Gerard Mayo. And he turned out to be, a good player. And we think Jalen Carter could be even better than that, but Howie Roseman, he's the freaking best, man. Like, shout out to Howie, because the thing that I don't want folks to forget about is that pick swap that he got with Arizona to go back to back over the grievance. I'm sure every coach, gets tampered with, but Howie, he's like a man of opportunity, and he goes, I'm gonna snitch on Arizona, make them flip me their third round pick just to not turn him into the league, and now he goes back to back at the start of the third round. It's incredible general managing.
Yeah. We're getting some good chat in here. Ovio Go saying Joey at 32 was a steal. Agreed. Jose Rucka saying Seattle won the draft. Go Hawks. I don't know about that one. Seattle's first pick, Doug.
Yeah. So I actually had Seattle. Can I give you a couple teams that I liked outside of the ones from Pennsylvania? Okay, because Seattle's on this list. So I liked what Seattle did at number 5. I may have had some action on Seattle taking a corner at number 5, but maybe not this corner. And that was what was surprising to so many people. They went with Devin Witherspoon out of Illinois, as opposed to somebody like Christian Gonzalez, who traditionally probably fits a little bit more about what they're about. But then you hear after the draft, John Schneider, Pete Carroll, they say, you know what, we want to go to a little bit more of like a press man scheme. And Witherspoon fits that to a T. And then you come back again with the 20th pick and you get Jackson Smith and Jigba. So now, you look at their receiving core for Geno or whomever else it could be, down the road. It's incredible to get the best slot receiver in the draft, bar none there. Derek Hall, top of the second round. That's another pass rusher. A little stiff for me in the lower half. That was essentially the joke about me in the Steelers draft before. So yeah, you got it. Zach Charbonnet, another running back. They got 2 of them in this class that I both like. Kenny McIntosh was their last one in the 7th round. You got Anthony Bradford on the line from LSU, who's good. Olu Oluwatimi's a center that won the Remington Award as the best center in the country this year. So, what's not to like with Seattle? And then another one that I like sticking out west was the LA Rams, right? So
they neaded something.
Yeah, and the Rams are famous for what? F them picks, right? I don't know if I can swear on the show, but
you can.
They all right, so they're big fuck them picks, right? And they come back and they go, they have just a ton of picks in the late round. So if you're like a real draft nerd, the LA Rams are the draft for you, right? Because that's one where you have to find value later in the rounds, because their whole model is we're going to get the stars and then kind of fill in the rest of it and just kind of go from there, right? So Steve Avila, that was your favorite from the draft guide. That was the Trump wall reference.
The Trump wall, yes.
Yep.
He's
he
huge.
Goes
He's a
to
wall.
the Rams. You got Byron Young, who's one of my favorite stories from the class. There's 2 Byron Youngs, but the one from Tennessee, he's got like his AARP card out there playing the SEC. He's like 25, 26, because he actually went to like 4 or 5 different junior colleges, then was working at a Dollar General. And then they're like, oh my God, this guy's built like a brick shit house, get him on the football field. And then he comes out and boom, he's a 2nd round pick. Or a 3rd round pick. Kobe Turner, I liked a lot. Stetson Bennett, I didn't like that. What did you think of that one? Did you think Stetson Bennett was going to go so high?
And Freddie Emerald said in the chat, and they wasted one on Stetson Bennett. Dude, I thought Stetson Bennett was going to be a free agent.
Yeah.
Like a free agent signing, bring him into a camp. Yeah, really and truly.
There was like there was a period in time where I kind of had like this whole Stetson, like what's the difference between Stetson Bennett and Bryce Young hot take? And then you kind of pour into it and you go, all right, like throw in, throw out, Stetson just doesn't have it. But then there's reports that like, maybe some folks in the Georgia locker room and the program are ready for him to move on and kind of couldn't wait for him to go. And you're like, wait, I thought like Stetson's supposed to be this like national, whatever.
Mr. Personality.
Yeah, exactly. But beyond that, you get a little bit deeper into it. They got Trey Tomlinson, who's LT's nephew, to play slot corner. Zach Evans in the 7th round. He was the number 1 running back coming out of high school when he was coming out of Texas. He started his career at TCU, finished up at Ole Miss. So there's a lot to like about that one. And then unfortunately, the last 2 classes that I like that I'll mention here, they're both in our division here, Josh. I like the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns a lot. So
yeah.
the
Browns didn't have a pick until late second round.
Yeah, and that's what's so crazy about it. So Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee was really good. Jim Nagy, who's the director of the Senior Bowl, said coming into the year that was their number one wide receiver. Banged up a little bit, but still kind of a big body guy. The aforementioned Siaki Ika, who's just like a big round Polynesian, which hits every soft spot that I have. If the Steelers could just field an offensive and defensive line of just Polynesian guys, emergency pod.
Yes, yeah.
DeJuan
Coached by
Jones.
Chris Fuamatu Ma'afala. That's the guy we got.
Oh man,
that was a running back in the early 2000s, Leighton. His name was Chris Fuamatu Ma'afala, and guess what we called him in Pittsburgh? A bad Ma'afala.
Boo! Yeah. Anyway,
y'all are so creative.
Yeah, right. Well, it's Pittsburgh, where, like I said, we got Darnell Washington, and there's Mount Washington. That's a neighborhood, and that's what his nickname's going to be. So he's a big 100%. Guy, Mount Washington. There you go.
Yeah. If you go down to Mount Washington, even though it's up the street, Leighton, you got to go down Mount Washington. You know what I mean?
We had Andy Warhol one time, and other than that, we're not very creative people. But we work hard, right?
Yeah. We got Dave Filoni in the Star Wars universe. We're doing okay. We're doing okay.
Sure. But just real quick to finish up on the Browns, Isaiah McGuire out of Missouri is really good. DeJuan Jones, I love. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the quarterback out of UCLA, kind of is like a reasonable facsimile, hopefully on the field only, of Deshaun Watson in terms of what he could give you as a backup. Kind of run the same offense if Watson got hurt. And then actually, my number one
run the same offense, Doug, or the same offense?
See, you're crossing over on my day job and my night job here.
Right.
If he needs anything, let me know. But
thank you.
and then finally with the Bengals, Miles Murphy from down here in Atlanta, a Hillgrove kid from Lithonia. I thought he was outstanding for them to get at the end of the first round. DJ Turner, another Atlanta area kid. This is interesting though to me. So DJ is like a DJ Junior, but his real name and his dad's name is Juan Drago.
What?
Explain that to me.
It sounds like a
Juan Drago.
It's Rocky 4.
I was gonna say I got your Creed 4. Final fight.
Holy shit, that's a great name.
So you got Doug Drago Turner, Jordan Battle, a safety out of Alabama. I liked a lot. Charlie Jones, shifty white wide receiver. Real junkyard dog. All kind of
high motor
all
guy,
things apply to him. Real hard worker. Chase Brown, who led the country in rushing out of Illinois. And then finally, kind of one of the more intriguing guys in the draft, a kid, the flying Hawaiian Andre Yoshevis, who was the NCAA decathlon national champion out of Princeton. Whoa. And put up over 1,000 yards at Princeton on the football field. So he can do it all, man. Fast, big, a spectacular athlete. I think to get him at the end of the draft, that was outstanding by the Bengals.
Well done. All right, your two least liked draft, and then Leighton wants a clean Falcons slate. Like, what did you like? Bijan Robinson? Did you what did you?
Of course.
Yeah. So the first one, I don't think anyone did bad. Like, if you look at anyone's class as a whole, I don't think you look at it where it's like some of these Mike Mayock ones that you saw where you're just like top to bottom, dude, like what are you doing? I don't think there was anything like that. Obviously, I think the Lions caught a lot of flack for their selections of Jahmyr Gibbs and Jack Campbell in the first round, because that's so 2004.
Yeah,
you're picking running backs, you're picking middle linebackers. But it comes down to kind of, do you like the player? I do. I like Gibbs a lot. I like Campbell a lot. So if you like them, it almost kind of doesn't matter where you pick them, because if you think they can play, then they can play. If you don't think that they can play, then obviously don't pick them. It doesn't matter where you get them. But from a team building standpoint, you think that is a running back when you have David Montgomery. Obviously, they traded Swift because they picked him, but you had DeAndre Swift at the time. Is that the best usage of an asset? You're trading back from 7. You could have had Jalen Carter there. A lot of people said you could have done the exact same thing that Philadelphia did, and it would have been outstanding. So, from that standpoint, I don't know if I loved what Detroit did.
Yeah.
But to give them some credit, they got Brian Branch in the second round, which I thought was good.
And I thought if the Steelers didn't take Joey Porter Jr., they would have gone Brian Branch.
Yeah, because he can do a lot for you. So that's one of the things that I really like. If you're a corner, but you can play a little slot corner or a little safety. And for him, he can do a lot of things. And Detroit, it's like name 5 guys on the Detroit defense, or 3 guys, besides Hutchinson. No one can do it. So that's somebody that can fill a lot of spots for you. But they're kind of going in all in on Hendon Hooker, which was a little interesting to me because he's obviously going to have to sit out for the year with his knee. Mm-hmm. He's already, 26, 20, he'll be 27. And then as a later round pick, you're basically only going to have a year or two to see if he's kind of the guy. And then you got to decide if you want to pay him. So I don't know if I love that move very much for them. The other one that I didn't like at all was San Francisco. And you were right on my mind with this one because I'm sure being in the Bay Area, people are probably making a lot about their second pick, Jake Moody, a top 100 selection on a kicker.
Yes.
Incredible. So we had not just one kicker, but 3 kickers go. I know you were talking about before the Patriots. What's worse than trading up for or than picking a kicker? It's trading up for a kicker.
Trading up for a kicker and then drafting a punter. Here's what you do for kickers and punters. First of all, San Francisco already has Robbie Gould, the greatest kicker to come out of Penn State ever, and the only guy I've seen chug 3 beers in a row without burping. Did it in my fraternity. Guy's a legend. Okay. Second, just have a punter tryout every year in the NFL. Every team just have a punter tryout.
Anything. There's a million of those guys that are just like walking around the street. At any point in time, punting and like kicking is so fluid. Like some guys are just have a bad couple of weeks and they get kicked.
Gould's a free agent now, and then Jose Rica says Gould is gone. Just get him. Where'd he go? Get him back.
Well, it doesn't make a difference. If Robbie Gould's not there, you still don't use the 99th pick on a kicker. I mean, you can say, yeah, sure, he's a starter. Right. He's going to be there for however long, but is the difference between him and BT Potter, who the Steelers signed as an undrafted free agent, is there 10% of difference between those two people? I don't know. I know Jake Moody's like the greatest kicker in the history of the Big Ten, but it always feels like when you see some of these like greatest kickers in the history of ever, there was, I can't remember the kid like 10, 15 years ago out of Arizona State. And then you had
Janikowski.
Well, Janikowski goes in the first round. And then you had the kicker from Florida State more recently, whose name is also
Rodrigo. No,
no. He's from Georgia, but
that was from Georgia.
There was the kid that the Buccaneers picked in the second round.
Aguayo.
Roberto Aguayo. He's supposed to be this great kicker, and he gets a case of the yips, and like Rick Ankiel, he's gone. So I don't like the idea behind that. And the other one too, Washington, just like the plainest of bagels, and I get that they're going through a transition with their ownership, but Emmanuel Forbes, great. Speaking of plain bagels, he's 166 pounds. Go eat some, maybe some everything. Put some nice locks on there. My people will fatten you up. So find the places around Capitol Hill there. Get some weight on you, and he'll be great. But then they come back again with another corner, right? Jartavius Martin. So you're like, okay, back-to-back corners. I get he can play a little bit of safety, but there's nothing about this franchise that excites you. If I were them, let me know how you guys feel about this. What was stopping them when Josh Harris comes in from going, we're going to give the 2 first-round picks for Lamar and sign him to a huge deal?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that excites you about this team. I get that they go for $6.5 billion, but then you come back and you go, all right, you get a center and you get a lineman. I thought maybe something, even just taking a swing on Will Levis.
I was just going to say, when Will Levis fell to you, I thought they would take a swing on it.
Yeah, take a swing, and you have Sam Howell there, who I like, but again, is that stopping you from just kind of throwing more darts at it? And if you suck, next year, obviously everyone always likes the next year's thing, Caleb Williams, Drake May, somebody else is going to emerge, right? Quinn Ewers, anybody, but do something. There's nothing that's preventing you from doing that. And if Will Levis turns out to be somebody, then great. Look, the Titans didn't give up that much to go get him. So you have some premium picks there, and to just kind of come away with, much ado about nothing. I didn't love it, but that's why they're there.
All right. We got 1 more minute left with you, Doug. 1 more minute. Tell us what you think of what the Falcons did.
Okay. So the Falcons, another one where you love the player, You question the team building strategy. You tell me, like, do you think that the Falcons are a running back away from contending?
No.
No.
Yeah.
But the explanation I gave my brother was that we know Cordero Patterson's on his last year. We're probably not going to pay that money for him. So I think that's why they want Bijan.
Okay.
And Bijan's like an athlete. Can they put him in the positions like they did with like a Reggie Bush or a LaDainian Tomlinson to really make him like the centerpiece of an offense, or like a Christian McCaffrey? Like, is he Christian McCaffrey?
So that's
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's the argument for him, right? Which is
right.
You don't draft a running back high, you draft a weapon high. And the same could apply for Gibbs. So if he's affecting your pass game, then that's something that, you can say, there's a lot of value to that. Tyler Algier was perfectly fine. Cordero Patterson was fine. I think Bijan is transcendent. Obviously, if you look at my draft guide, he's a second-ranked player. So there's nothing against him as a player. I love the kid. I think he's going to be outstanding in the community, outstanding in the locker room. But Jalen Carter's right there. I don't know if they were comfortable with him, maybe being in Atlanta. I'm sure that was something. There might have been something that you could do. If you love Tyree Wilson, you can hop up a little bit. It's something where I go, for what their problems are, I don't think it necessarily moves the needle that much. But if you're looking for a sneaky tank team for next year, I think it's the Falcons, because they came right out and said, we don't want Lamar, and he would be perfect in Arthur Smith's offense. But you just picked Ritter. You want to see what he got. I get that. And if he doesn't work out, again, you go back to some of these quarterbacks. Now, Matthew Bergeron in the second round, I like a lot. Obviously, I'm a Syracuse guy, so of course I'm going to like him. You've got the guard spot kind of unsettled opposite of Lindstrom, who they just paid. You got the two tackles. The kid from Washington, McGarry, you just paid. Jake Matthews is still there. So that's good, but I think if you're looking at Bijan to fix your offense, then you're kind of taking away a little bit from what Pitts might do for you, for what London could do for you. So it's something where their problems to me just weren't on offense. But I like the swing that they took on Zach Harrison. He's the one that they took in the third round. He's a big defensive end out of Ohio State. So if you want to say that he could be something, then sure. To me, there's a little bit, Falcons fans will remember Rashid Hageman out of Minnesota. That was another one where it was all tools, but everyone kind of questioned if he was, that guy and wanted it like that. But there was just a huge gap then after the Clark Phillips pick, which I liked a lot, to DeMarco Helms and Joe Von Gwyn. So are the Falcons that much better as to take advantage of a wide open NFC? I don't know.
Okay.
That's fair.
Doug Glosser, an NFL savant, the draft guide. I told you, dude. He's the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you coffee, man.
Yeah.
I'm in East Atlanta. You, me, and Gucci. We're over here.
All right, cool.
Doug, thanks for coming on the show again.
It's great talking to you guys.
We'll bring you back again soon. Doug, the pride of Johnstown, Pennsylvania, now Atlanta native, giant Steeler guy. Really, the Steelers should just hire him as a scout and draft guru. But we get him here at Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment. Doug, thanks, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, Doug.
Back to work.
Told you, man. Doug's
that
the
was
best.
refreshing.
Yeah, right?
It was like refreshing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of refreshing, every other week, our buddy Freddie Airmail, the absolute legend, fan controlled football legend, stats guru, everything all wrapped in one Indiana gem of a human, is back on the show. And he's listen, the XFL season just ended and a few of our FCF players were in there. So we're going to break down their performances and team grades and such. So ladies and gentlemen, direct from not South Bend, Indiana, but he went to Notre Dame, Freddie Airmail.
What's up, guys?
How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm pretty close to South Bend. I'm like just outside the city limits.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, how are we doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Doing all right.
Good. Yeah. Wild Aces, season 1.
Always wild.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened this year in the XFL? Because I'll be honest, after week 1, I saw Jameel score a touchdown. That's all I needed, right? I was not impressed by, the inconsistency of when I could see an XFL game and the lack of, just fun around the XFL. They weren't doing anything to me that made me really want to be like, I need to watch the XFL, right? And that's a bummer because we had so many guys from the FCF in it, and I wanted to see them all succeed. So, Freddie, give us like the highs and lows of the XFL season from an FCF perspective.
From an FCF perspective, I think we didn't get as much as we were expecting when we were heading into the season, which is maybe what you could say about the XFL as a whole. It sounds like that's what you're feeling with how the whole thing went. And the season's not over just yet. They still have the championship to play. And it's Arlington versus DC in a really weird parallel to how the last FCF season just went, because you have the team with the best record with a great run game heading into a championship against a team that went into the playoffs with a losing record and has Kelly Bryant on the roster. So it's almost like an Apes Zappers parallel there. And you could, I love it. I could keep going, but that's not why you brought me on here. You brought me on to talk about how some of the FCF guys did.
Yes.
Let's start with our boy XFL season.
Let's start with the legend, my favorite FCF player of all time, and that's tough because I love all those dudes. But Andrew Jamil is my road dog, so let's start with Jamil.
All right, Jamil only played 5 games this year, and I haven't really heard, but why that might be, I haven't. But I also haven't totally been paying attention to if they have injury reports, so I'm not sure if he was hurt. I'm not sure if there was maybe a factor with Francois also not playing that much. If Jamil if it was maybe like a solidarity thing, or I'm not sure what it was. But in those 5 games, he had 12 catches for 147 yards, which is a pretty good average. Yeah. And 3 of those catches were touchdowns.
See? Okay.
So he had some highlight reel catches in that limited time that he was out there.
Do we think that through those performances, do we think that Andrew Jamil is just based on what we saw an NFL caliber talent?
Based on that, I'm not sure. If we saw more of that and it turned out to be, if we got a lot more of the same thing just in a higher volume, then I'd say, yeah, he's NFL ready. Okay. Maybe he just needs a little bit more time, a little bit more nurturing in an XFL level where, he can really stand out. Because he was on this Orlando Guardians team that went 1-9 on the season. Ironically, the only win was against the 9-1 Defenders who are in the championship.
No shit.
So, yeah, biggest upset of the year by far. But there was just a lot of dysfunction on that team. It felt like, and it felt like you could really see that coming through on the field. And I'm just a football nerd. I'm just a talking head. I'm in no position to tell them how they can fix that sort of dysfunction, but it just seemed messy out there, honestly.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. What about my favorite running back? I know Jeff Kana's man crush, Bryson Aline.
Bryson, yeah. You asked me when we were leading up to this if he was underutilized in this season, and based on his stat line, which is 193 rushing yards on 43 carries. He was also involved in the receiving game. And there was he scored 1 rushing touchdown, but there was another play where he got into the end zone and it was called back. So he wasn't credited with the touchdown, but he just got in there and then did a backflip in the end zone right after that. And then they called it back, which was kind of unfortunate, but it was he's talented. And the thing about Houston, he was on Houston, who just lost to the Arlington Zappers.
Yeah, the Arlington Zappers. Well done.
At home in pretty surprising fashion, 26-11.
Okay.
But I think Houston was one of the teams that leaned more into the running game than other teams in terms of volume of rushing versus passing yards. Okay. And I think part of what helped them was having multiple guys in the running back room, or multiple guys who were running the ball for them. And so I think when you look at Aline's fairly lean volume of rushing yards, I think maybe it was kind of a product of the system. that he was in that sort of underutilized him. So maybe if he's on a different team next year, because I don't think that that too much is going to change with Houston. They had a pretty good year aside from a first round exit in the playoffs.
Have they greenlit a second season for the XFL?
I mean, The Rock and Danny Garcia have said things that make you think that it's going to come. I'm not totally sure. It's not like official yet, but
okay, let's do a little rapid fire. Who do like? Why didn't D'Andre Francois play? Give me like a 20-second reason why didn't he play?
I think it's just. I think what they were looking for in a quarterback there is different from his game. I think his game is much more suited to the FCF game, and he's great there, obviously. Yeah. But it seems
what about Cedric Byrd? Did he have the best season of any FCF player?
He ended the season with the most receptions for the Roughnecks out of all their wide receivers. But they had some guys who got hurt that might have out caught him if they had been there. But he still had a pretty good season, a better season than I was expecting, and I think a better season than the Glacier Boys fans might have wanted. They're mad at him for some reason. I don't know. Ask Frosty.
Okay. Frosty, chime in if you're in there. And then any like anything that stood out from an FCF player this season in the XFL? Anything that really jumped off the page to you?
I really liked that Francois and Jamil connected for a touchdown in one of the later weeks.
Okay.
It wasn't in a win. Jamil wasn't active for the one win that Orlando had. And I don't think Francois was either, but it was still cool that they got that moment.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah. And then there are a couple guys who spent some time in FCF but weren't there for too long or weren't there in season 2. Travis Toivonen was with San Antonio for a little bit. He was a midseason signing. Martavis Bryant. He didn't do too much. He seemed to be a favorite target for Jack Cohn back when he was kind of looking like a decent XFL quarterback.
When
Martavis Bryant and Josh Gordon were also in there.
Yeah. When Martavis Bryant was with the Steelers, he had so much upside potential, and he just, that team, that offense with Antonio Brown, Martavis Bryant. I mean, we had some weapons back then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Freddie, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do we got?
Yeah. All right, let's do some thumbs up, thumbs down. And last week I had the privilege of being in Canton, Ohio for my brother's bachelor party festivities.
Love it. Okay.
And so we didn't actually get to go to the Hall of Fame. We had some other stuff on the table that just got in the way. And
is there a bar inside the Hall of Fame? There should be.
There should be.
Is there a bar inside the Hall of Fame? Because there should be.
There should be, yeah. But so this list of thumbs up, thumbs down was inspired by just the idea of the Hall of Fame and the stuff that goes along with that. What do we think of like a Ring of Honor instead of like a Hall of Fame for now for the FCF? Something like that the fans of individual teams vote their players into instead of being like a league-wide thing at this point.
Well, you can't retire numbers just yet,
right?
Because we're not there. I think that if I was going to give it a thumbs up, I mean, I love the idea. I love giving guys the recognition for a season. I think you give it to one player league-wide. I don't think you give it to one player per team. But I don't know, Leighton. I would probably put it like here-ish, like trending.
Yeah, I'm here with it, and it was that same point. I would hate to see a Kingpins player in the Ring of Honor.
It can be workshopped. These ideas that I present to you every other week can all be workshopped for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Andy. Yeah, I appreciate that.
We will get to a Hall of Fame eventually. So how about for that? What if instead of a bust for players in the Hall of Fame, you had a hologram that would show that player in action? Showing some of the things that he would do on the field.
Highlight and put it in the metaverse. Done and done. Yes.
Yeah.
Put them on have a little bed of avatar grass under it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay. What else you got?
I had a couple. I know we can't retire numbers. We need all the numbers we can get. Ray Austin at least has already said that.
Yes.
But what do we think of at least retiring the number 22 in honor of Christian Salisbury?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
And we unfortunately lost a few months ago.
100% agreed.
on the same note, what would we think of having possibly an award for players named after him? I don't know if I don't think MVP would be proper because he wasn't
the MVP. No, but he was a great personality and a
but
great
maybe
player.
something like a spirit or an attitude or something.
Yeah,
and
like
it would probably
be
something that the players would vote on, because I think the players have a better idea than fans would.
Oh, kind of like players MVP. Like this is players guy.
MVP or
because Salisbury was a littler guy, so little body, big heart, like a Rudy kind of award.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So
both of those. Yes. 100%. Yeah.
Last one.
Is that it? Last one hit me.
What do we think of an idea of retiring the branding of the FCF champion after every season? So we kind of did that with the Wild Aces. Wild Aces are no more. What if we made it so that every year the group that is the champion team has to rebrand? And so for this year you would retire the Zappers, and they had to think of something else now.
From a merch perspective, I think it's hilarious, because then the merch becomes, like a vintage,
planned obsolescence.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm gonna vote down on this.
He's gonna vote down.
Vote down.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of each year us having not so much new color patterns, but like maybe new jersey designs of that nature for the winning team. But maybe there is a cool thing that we could decide at the beginning of the season, like, hey, if you win a championship, you get to retire this from your team, right? It's sort of like, are they going to keep lighting that damn beam in Sacramento, or was that just this year, right? Do you know what I mean? So like, is like, we have the one thing of the Zappers, so I'm gonna say no to like retiring the branding, but maybe there is something that we could retire within the thing.
I'm not here just to give you good ideas. I'm here to have fun with you guys, and it doesn't have to be punishing them ruthless cutie. Unless you want to spin it
people who do the best. I say we pick the worst team and rebrand them. Now that is hysterical. That's funny. But again,
or they have to go as the losers for the next season. Like that is their brand, the losers.
Yes. I mean, if you want the should have been stars to tank, then maybe you do that. I don't
know. Freddie Airmail, as always, great to have you on the show, buddy. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Always great to be here.
And so you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. How do you think the Chiefs, besides the entire first night of the draft, just being like, Kansas City is the greatest place ever, and we have the greatest team, and everybody's perfect.
Barbecue!
Oh my God! And Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and here's the girl from Shrinking that doesn't know what a football is, just yelling. And then let's bring in Rob Riggle, because he's like, let's bring that all in for Kansas City. Besides that, how do you think the draft went?
You're lucky you don't have my dad on to talk about all the stupid shit that goes on around the draft on draft night.
I want your dad to come on the show to talk about it. No, I really do. Yeah.
You'd be getting way more than you're in for with Big Tim, whose birthday it's my dad's birthday today, actually.
Oh, Big Tim, happy birthday! Shout out to Big Tim.
We're going to be having homemade pizza and maple walnut carrot cake.
Let's go. Big Tim's big birthday. Thanks for being on the show, Freddie. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. All right, bud.
All right. Get back to work.
Hey, man. Get back to work. All right. Late we've ever did, but we got a couple of fun things to get to. Okay. First of all, you moved. We talked about it. Did we get any suggestions from the fans of, like, in sports, what's the equivalent of moving? Because listen, I would probably help you move. I've helped more people move than I'd like to count. I moved so many times in my life. I never want to move again. I don't care if I'm living in a box. That box is now my home. Okay. Done.
It's the most physically demanding 3 days of my life recently. It was really painful.
You want me to call that Morehouse coach and tell him?
Say what again?
You want me to call the Morehouse coach and tell him that was the most physically demanding thing you
God, no. Yeah, no, I mean, we have 2 flights of stairs, so that's just imagine that. Lord. Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah.
What's like of moving?
Is it like your quarterback going out for like 6 weeks? Not the whole season, but like 6 weeks, like a high ankle sprain for your QB. It's not losing in the first round of the playoffs. It's losing like a heartbreaking Eastern Conference final, maybe, or like a second round series.
I feel like it's like a rebuild.
Oh,
no one likes to have to go through a rebuild.
Yes.
A rebuild sucks.
Well said.
Or having to go through a new general manager. Do you know how much anticipation and like painful anticipation that is?
Yes.
Even a new head coach.
What about the Wildcat offense? Is that the equivalent of moving? Is it like, oh, look, they brought in Tim Tebow. Wonder what they're gonna do with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is it like watching Army and Navy just run the option all day?
Just all day long? Is it a pitcher? Is it a pitcher just throwing the ball to first over and over and over again to try and pick off a guy that he knows he's not going to get?
Yeah, that's terrible. Or
is it the wave? Is the wave moving?
The new uniform process.
Oh, yeah.
When the team gets when they announce a new rebrand, they're like, they announce it in November and they're like, we'll let you know in April. And you're like, you suck. Like, yeah. I feel like they shouldn't announce rebrands. They should announce rebrands the week that they're gonna launch it.
Is it John Madden? Is it John Madden talking about Brett Favre in like the mid 90s?
Turducken?
It's moving the turducken. Yeah.
I think so.
Well, congratulations on your move, Leighton. I'm very proud of you.
It.
Can't wait to see you in a minivan in a few years. You're going to rock that Dodge Caravan.
God.
Crush it.
Ouch. Oh, God. Okay. Well, I'm a real adult now.
And then finally, Leighton, you know, we talk a lot about sports. Obviously, this is a very sports-heavy show. Sometimes we like to talk about entertainment. Now, on Friday, my brother and I had been talking about, we wanted to go to the theaters to see Cocaine Bear. Unfortunately, my brother was not healthy enough to go to the theaters. So we waited till it came on streaming. I went to his house on Friday night. We took an edible, I had a couple drinks, and we watched Cocaine Bear. Let me tell you something right now. Cocaine Bear is a terrible movie that is awesome. It is.
Is it like
awesome?
Energy wise, is it like the energy of a Pineapple Express? Because that's how it comes off to me in the.
Yes, it's it's this hilarious ticking clock of. There's no like, I would say there's no real plot other than they want to like capture and kill this bear, but they keep losing this bear, and this bear has like the superpowers of like a Jason or a Freddy Krueger, but he's also he gets a liking, he gets a liking for the cocaine, and so he's now chasing people down for the cocaine. I'm telling you, man,
I just realized just put cocaine on Winnie the Pooh in this graphic.
Instead of honey, he did cocaine.
Oh, Christopher Robin. He got some more.
Hey, Chris, it's me, Pooh. Let's get weird. You know that donkey? You know that really sad donkey?
Yeah.
Let's give him some damn cocaine.
Hey, Tigger, I'll make you feel good.
Tigger doesn't need any more cocaine. That's it.
Yeah, no, not at all. Gosh.
Well, this has been Back to Work. I'm Josh McCouga. It's Leighton Batiste. Thanks for. I got to figure out my internet by Thursday, or I'm going to lose my mind. Leighton, congrats on your move. Your new background's fantastic. I'm very happy for you. And special thanks to Doug Glosser, Freddie Airmail for being here. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. From King Cod to Ruthless Cutie and everybody in between. This is Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment. We follow us at Fan Controlled across all social medias. Tomorrow, Info Arcade does not have a show. He'll be back next week. Don't Cause a Ruckus on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific. And the Fan Controlled Show, your flagship show, 2:30 p.m. Pacific on Thursday. We'll be back next Monday. Make sure that you guys, share this, tell people about it, subscribe. We just have a lot of fun here. We're the only league in the world where we are giving power to all of the fans. It's what we want. Fans call the plays in football. Fans will be able to call the shots in basketball. And just wait till you see the other sports and plans and things that we have in store for you all. Until the next episode, Leighton.
Back to work.
You got it.
Thank you, fans, for watching Back to Work with Leighton Batiste and Josh McCouga on the Fan Controlled Sports and Entertainment YouTube channel. If you liked this video, you can check out other videos right here. You can subscribe to the channel, tell all your friends, hit like buttons across all the videos, check out all of our shorts and live shows, and as always, power to the fans.